Alright, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back to another little StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm commentary. Of course, my name is Promise. As always, I am the only person that casts on this channel. And I'm super excited to bring you guys yet another game. Oh my god, listen to this music. This is some sexy music, guys. I kind of like this quite a bit. I've never heard this specific tune in any of these replays, so this is going to be kind of new for me as well. But anyway, let's not talk about the music. Let's talk about the players that we have playing in this matchup. It is going to be a Zerg versus Terran. IdrA going to be our blue Zerg here in the lower left side of Neo Planet S. His opponent representing Rice. I like rice. It has a lot of carbs, but I kind of do enjoy eating rice. Of course, pasta, rice, kind of the same thing. You know, if you guys are if you're into pasta, if you're into rice, it doesn't really matter. They both have a crap load of carbs. But let's not talk about nutrition. Who gives a crap about this? We're talking about StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. It is going to be a red Terran player by the name of Zero. Don't really know who this guy is. I know that he's pretty highly ranked on the ladder. He may not be Grandmaster, but a pretty highly ranked Masters player on the North American ladder, of course. And IdrA, pretty known guy in the community. I don't really think I have to give a huge introduction on who he is, what he's done, what he's achieved, what he's done in Brood War. Kind of just a man known for being a very good player and somewhat can get angry sometimes. But hey, all of us get angry in the game of StarCraft 2 when it's very demanding to be posting results. When you have to practice consistently 8 to 10 hours a day. Some of these players practice even a lot more than that. It's completely understandable to see that kind of attitude bring forth or being shown a little bit into the community. But so far, it looks like our buildings or build orders are pretty standard. We're seeing Zero going up to this one barracks. Not really going to grab any sorts of gas early on. The metagame, a little bit in Zerg versus Terran in Heart of the Swarm, has been quite a bit of Reapers in the early stages. Of course, you can kind of commit to one base Reaper. Not so common, but you would usually see early gas into barracks, get a Reaper out, do a little bit of scouting information, and then go ahead and pop down that natural command center. Right now, IdrA sending in that Overlord will be able to come into the natural. Not going to spot any sort of command center first build, which is still pretty common in Heart of the Swarm. But I mean, Terrans in general have quite a good amount of options in the early stages of Terran versus Zerg. But IdrA back home, as I mentioned, hatchery very close to finishing. This is basically the bread and butter. Wow, bread and butter of Zerg versus Terran. 15 hatch. 15 pool. Sometimes you can even go get a little bit more, just make an extra drone and go into a 16 pool, depending on kind of what map you're playing on. If it's a pretty big map, you can squeeze it in. But if there's early pressure, any 2 racks, anything like that, you want to be a little bit safer, and going for that 15 pool is definitely a better option. IdrA's going to grab some gas too, so you know, it's good. I really like this from IdrA because he's going to be able to have a little bit of map control with this speedling. I mean, metabolic boost, you guys can see, is in the production tab, so he will, in fact, be controlling the map in the early stages of this game. I was going to say something. I forgot what my point was going to be. Okay, yeah, 3 hatch Zerg versus Terran is basically done. This was kind of a build that you do in Zerg versus Protoss. Some Zerg players did it in Zerg versus Terran if they're playing against a player that is rather passive. Going for a quick throat CC is something pretty known in Heart of the Swarm. Actually, that's exactly what Zero's doing in this game. He's going for that quick third command center. So, you know, IdrA has a few options. With the speed, he can be a little bit aggressive if he can catch his opponent a little bit with his pants down. Doesn't even have a bunker. So this is super greedy play from Zero. Finally, we're going to go ahead and start seeing these supply depots get in position at the natural to go ahead and create some sort of a wall. I mean, laying Baneling Bust right now, I feel, would do a tremendous amount of damage to Zero. All he has is these Marines, his third command center, basically completed. No sorts of add-ons onto these, no barracks being added on, excuse me, is what I meant to say, into the main base. Going up to this factory, so this is going to give him options of course, Widow Mines or Hellions. And IdrA, what is IdrA doing? He's actually making a crap load of lings. Oh my god, he's actually going to make the way towards the natural. We're going to have another factory come here at the natural expansion. We'll be able to finish that wall off finally. But this is really good scouting information by IdrA. When he saw this, he was like, okay, you don't have a supply depot wall. I can probably just go and run into your natural. But all of a sudden, he's going to be here. He's going to spot this. These Zerglings are not really going to be able to do too much here in the early stages. Marines are in a really good position. We'll be able to take a few hits onto these Lings. But now let's talk a little bit about what the follow-up here of IdrA is going to be. He's taking a 3rd command center. He is also grabbing the 2nd and the 3rd gas at the natural expansion. Mutalisks, pretty common in Heart of the Swarm too in the metagame of ZVT. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for Mutalisks rather soon. Usually you would be doing mutas off of 2 base, more commonly actually off of 3 base. Or 2 base into 3 base for ZVT, but you want to have that 4th gas up as quickly as possible to go ahead and get enough gas to be able to consistently be producing these Mutalisks. But again, he might be playing a little bit more, you know, the style that StarTale Life has been doing. He's displayed it very, very well in the MLG Dallas tournament, and that's looking like it's going to be that from IdrA. So Baneling Nest being thrown down, did throw down these double evolution chambers as well. So Baneling looking like it's going to be the early composition here for our Zerg player. Hellion Marine is going to be the composition here of Zero, and looks like some Lings are going to be able to surround some of these Hellions and Marines. Going to get a few hits, but all of these Lings are going to die from IdrA. Now I want to look at IdrA's vision. Does he see this 3rd command center? He should see it rather soon. He probably wants to poke in this Overlord towards his 3rd base to go ahead and make sure that the expansion exists. He can assume that it's there because that's what Terran players have been doing, going for this very quick 3rd CC. But something I want to note about our Terran player, he is not adding on any sorts of Widowmine just yet. And I have a feeling he's going to be going into Hellbats. I mean, there's an armory in the production tab. Of course, you guys need an armory to go ahead and produce these Hellbats with these Hellions. Hellbats, such a strong unit against Zerglings in general. So wouldn't be a huge surprise, quite honestly, if Zero decides to go into maybe a siege tank Hellbat composition, which is becoming very, very hard for Zerg players to deal with this early Ling Baneling composition. IdrA right now sitting on 87 supply to 86 supply of Zero. If we compare the economy, we see 62 drones to 52 SCVs. We're going to see the Queens now start to get to work on this creep spread. IdrA going up to layer, continuing to stay on top of his upgrades, getting his Carapace, getting his melee attacks level 1. And the Terran player has not started any upgrades. Just now, he's going to go ahead and get started on his weapons level 1. So, upgrade-wise, IdrA is going to have a little bit of an advantage for now. We'll see if the Terran might be able to equal it up, or just get the the upgrades equal on both sides. I'm not really too sure when he's going to go ahead and you know, we just continue his upgrades, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I have like a brain freeze, I don't know. I was thinking of something and then I said something completely differently, but whatever, it happens, guys. And IdrA going for this bottom right hatchery expansion. Whoa! So, actually, this is a lot of hatcheries. He's going for a macro hatch, he's going for a bottom right expansion, he's going to be on 4 base. Technically, he's going to have 5 hatcheries to be able to produce a lot of units. And his economy, quite honestly, is pretty good, but the Terran player's been doing a really good job as well in terms of staying on top of his SCV production. Composition right now for our Terran looks like it's just going to be Hellbats, siege tanks, maybe Hellbats. I mean, he has the armory. I'd like to see these Hellions transformed into Hellbats once they're actually into, actually attacking in the fight. So, right now we're seeing IdrA. If I went muta, you kind of just kneel over. It's kind of a good point. And all this Terran player has is no anti-air at all. There's no Thors, so Mutalisks would actually do quite a bit of damage against us. They would actually just kill everything here. So Zero really just having a very strong ground army, which can work pretty good against IdrA. Roach Hydra looks like it's going to be the composition going up to this hive as well, so do not be surprised if IdrA decides to go into a Roach Hydra Viper composition. Abducts, very, very good against mech. If it's more biocentric play, I would assume IdrA is going to be using more Blinding Cloud instead of actually trying to abduct these siege tanks that do splash damage against this Roach Hydra army composition of IdrA. But it looks like our Terran player going to start to push across the map. +1 has just completed. IdrA already has 1-1, so definitely a good advantage for the Evil Genius's Zerg, but this is a lot of units count right now as we look at it. 12 Siege Tanks, 21 Hellbats. IdrA does not want to overextend, but at the same time, he does not want to have all these Siege Tanks start to siege up and get into position towards the natural expansion of IdrA. IdrA needs to buy himself enough time, making some more roaches. His hive is almost completed. Obviously, he's not going to have these Vipers out in time to go ahead and deal with this army. He needs to get the consumability to go ahead and get the energy to be able to do anything. But here we go. IdrA going to come in from the back. These roaches are going to do some damage, but that is a lot of siege tanks. And Zero looks like he's going to be able to clean a lot of this up with these Hydras, of course, doing the extra DPS damage. Lings swinging in from the back as well. Is IdrA going to be able to defend this? Zero falling to 150 supply. IdrA falling in supply as well. 144. He is going to lose the natural. Of course, Hellbats are going to come in from the left side to do some work onto these roaches and hydralisks, but it looks like our Zerg player is going to be able to defend this, but at what cost? He lost the natural. He's down to 72 drones, so he had around 90 drones by the time this attack actually hit, which is actually a very, very good number to be at this point of the game. But Zero has the third expansion, dropping a lot of mules. Might want to take a fourth here very, very soon because his third is basically mined out. So IdrA, knowing his opponent's on 3 base, knowing it does not have a 4th base, he's actually going to give himself a little bit of a window and opportunity, moving here towards the 3rd base. That's the thing about Mech. Mech is so immobile, and it takes such a long time to get the same size army to be able to do anything and to be able to start pushing across the map once again. So IdrA is going to start to abuse this. He's making more roaches, he's making more hydralisks. His upgrades now are 2-1 compared to 1-1, so he still is going to have this advantage. And he's been mining off this bottom right expansion for quite some time, and I do not think Zero has any idea that expansion actually exists. I want to look at his vision pretty quickly. Okay, no, he has no idea that this base exists. IdrA even going to take the 4th, or what would be the 4th here of Zero. So he's just macroing very, very nicely, making some more drones. There is the Viper in the production tab for IdrA. I am so excited to see what he's going to be able to do with this. The abduct ability is just so exciting to watch, and the blinding cloud really makes Terran kind of just, they don't see anything. You're blind. That's why it's called blinding cloud. You don't see what you're really attacking into. But against Mech, abduct is definitely going to be the better choice here for IdrA, making some more Vipers. So he's going to be up to 3 very, very shortly. Roach Hydra Viper, very good against Mech. You even see a few Zerg players, or actually a lot of Zerg players, go with swarm hosts against the heavy mech composition, especially siege tanks. It really takes some great control from the Terran player to actually get in the face of these swarm hosts. IdrA not going to be able to get this expansion. Looks like Zero going to start to push across the map once again. 185 supply to 195, so IdrA can max out very, very soon. There we go. We're going to see these Vipers start to use the consume ability, taking out a lot of the energy here onto these evolution chambers. Of course, this is kind of how the Vipers charge up their energy. If you guys notice, they're getting a lot of mana as they're, taking out the energy here from the evolution chambers. Finally, we're going to see Zero be able to spot this bottom right expansion. Going to make his way here with some Hellbats and some siege tanks. At the same time, we're going to see him make his way towards the 3rd base. This is a really good siege position here from Zero. IdrA is not going to be able to get the best flank possible. I mean, there's no way he can come in from the back. He's really just kind of forced to engage here. But now we're going to see this bottom right expansion. It is going to fall down, but at the same time, we're seeing IdrA march his way towards the army of Zero, seeing siege tanks, Hellbats. He might even throw down some abducts or even some blinding clouds. There we go, blinding clouds being thrown up by IdrA. IdrA has a pretty good supply advantage, but Zero making some more roaches. Oh my god, did you guys just see that? He just like A-moved, or he just moved command and it's into that army because the blinding cloud does not really allow you to see anything. So that's basically it. That's GG. Zero, the blinding cloud basically just won the game for IdrA. I mean, the Roach Hydra army composition is very good against Mech, especially with Vipers. Vipers kind of makes the engagement swing in your favor. But IdrA got some really good fungal growth. What am I saying? IdrA got some really good blinding clouds. Did not use the abduct, which quite honestly was a pretty good choice because the Terran player was balled up with all of his siege tanks, ran in with the roaches and the hydralisks. Zero was stuck on 3 bases. As a mech, you need to be mass expanding across the map. So, IdrA played a very, very good game. That's going to conclude our cast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and stay safe, good luck, and have fun.